Hello everybody, hope you're doing well today. So in this video, I wanted to talk about orchestration once again, and instead of talking about the lead melody, I wanted to talk about harmony and what type of instrumentation we would use depending on the emotion of our scene or the type of mood that we're trying to portray to the audience. So let's start right with the strings. They're the most versatile instrument group for sure, and they have the biggest breadth of articulation. So I've only pulled up a few of them here, but just to show you, I have a bunch of patches with each instrument group there, and we'll start with the sustains. So, when most people think of strings, we usually think of sustained long notes that are held, and strings usually serve as a bed for something, for something playing on top of it. So, for example, so when you hear that, you can immediately think that, oh, I could hear a brass brass line on top of it, maybe an oboe or a clarinet on top, because the strings really do have that ability to give you that homogeneous, unified, warm sound. So that's why it's the most commonly used in like romantic things and things that require kind of a softer, a little softer articulation. And then we can move on to spiccato. So that's kind of the short side of things. So again, this is Berlin strings. So it does give you a more classical sound. But for example, if I pulled up something like cinematic studio strings, those shorts can inspire you to write something different. But the shorts in general, it's kind of has that lighthearted feeling you can give to it, but also it can have kind of a darker side too. It's extremely versatile as well. So those are just the longs and the shorts. Again, it's hard for me to kind of say exactly what situation you would use an articulation for, because for strings especially, there's just so many situations that it could work, right? Let's move on to pizzicato. So pizzicato is basically when they take their fingers and pluck it on the string. So something like that. It's kind of short and almost like you're tiptoeing around something. When I hear pizzicato, I think of tiptoeing, and it's like you're trying not to step on anything else. And pizzicatos can be difficult to hear over the rest of the orchestra. If the brass is playing, the woodwinds are playing, pizzicato is not a very loud articulation. So try to use pizzicato when the other instrumentation is a little more sparse. And on the softer side, we also have the flageolet or flageolet, someone can correct me, but these are basically harmonics, and this is what these sound like. So the word I would use to describe that is delicate and almost like ghostly, I would probably use harmonics in a situation where maybe in a film someone is coming to the realization of something, or maybe a scene is opening, like you see a scene fading in to the screen and everything is lighting up. You might see that kind of like, and that could be your bed, and then something could happen on top, like a woodwind line or something, or a brass sustain or something like that. So we usually never use these harmonics as kind of a lead melody articulation. These are usually done for beds and harmony. Oh, one more articulation I should mention is the tremolo. So this is what it sounds like. So tremolos I typically use when in situations where I want to build tension and I want to build to a certain climax. And the tremolos can can help me do that because they have that constant movement, right? And so it's not entirely just sustained and kind of nice and comfortable. Tremolo kind of gives you that tension and that sense of movement that you will need in certain situations. So cool. Okay, let's move on to some brass. So the brass ensemble, or the brass family, is slightly less versatile in terms of articulations, but they can still do quite a bit. So okay, so the brass, right now I have the mod wheel all the way up. This is center brass, so it has that really big, epic, heroic Hollywood sound. So right now I have it on the shorts, right? And so you can imagine using brass to really accentuate certain things. When you have heroic moments, you can go like, right? Something that really cuts through the mix and really gets the listener's attention. I would use longs, on the other hand, if I'm trying to do something a little more mellow. Quality is different from the strings though, so because the strings tend to use a little bit more often, the brass I kind of use as an additional color. I'll throw it in just to layer. But interestingly, the brass really can sound similar to the strings in terms of its sustains. Here I've pulled up some low brass pads. Sorry for the phone there. Right, so something like that. It can be very warm and very mellow. Sometimes strings can't even replicate that because they are different instruments. And then another articulation, or something else that can be used to change the tone, is the Harmon Mute. And right now I have the trombones pulled up. I've searched Cinebrass Pro, but I don't think they have ones for trumpet. But anyway, doesn't really matter. Almost sounds like you're plugging your nose or something, you know? So I would use a Harmon Mute when I'm trying to do something a little more comical. Cool. All right. And finally, we have the Woodwinds. And I find the winds, they're the least versatile just because that they don't have mutes or anything like that. They do have harmonics, but really the articulation differences are all done with a mouth, right? So what I find myself doing with the Woodwinds is that if I want something with a different texture, then all I have to do is arrange the music to the way I want it in order to achieve that feel. So musically, compositionally, I'll have to arrange the woodwinds in a way that makes it all sound that mood. So for example, this marching patterns is arranged this way. You know, it's kind of nice. And then this is like instant Superman, right? You know, stuff like that. So the way the rhythm is arranged, the way the way that the rhythm is arranged, the way they're articulating the notes, all, you know, short tier, double tonguing, triple tonguing, whatever. That's all stuff that contributes to the actual motion and the feeling of it. Now this one is like instant Disney, so listen to this. Right? That's like ridiculous. One press of a button and you get that. That's pretty cool. And you can try different notes as well. Just makes me happy. I think of like Beauty and the Beast or something. But it's the use of the chords as well, the way they arranged it musically. So they started with a C chord, C major, and then they do D major, right? So D major is not actually in C major. It's a D minor chord, but they threw in that F sharp. So it gives us that John Williams kind of feel when you throw in that extra note there. And then this one. Now you hear everything is a little more sustained, right? So it's less jumpy and less energetic. And then like, so in this case, I would probably use it for something more relaxed. And you know, you get what I mean in general. It really depends on the tonality of the instrument and what you're actually trying to go for. So really the sky's the limit, you know. You have all these different articulations, especially in the strings. You know, we can even take a look at everything they actually give you here in Berlin strings. So, you know, you have legato and sustains. Those are relatively the same. Legato is just connecting the actual notes. Espressivo is a sustain as well, but it's more vibrato, right? So the more vibrato you put into it, you can get more emotion out of it as well. Tremolo we already covered, so if that's when they're going back and forth on the string, that's where you get the tension and the movement from. Spiccato are the shorts. Spiccatissimo is like super, super duper short. Portato is a little bit longer. It's kind of like a stress note. Repetitions, you know, that's all nowhere. Pizzicato we talked about. Trills, you know, back and forth. Every instrument can do that. But trills are great as well, just to throw in a little color. But anyway, that's the idea. So every instrument family has their own strengths and weaknesses. The strings are the most versatile in terms of backing. The brass, I find myself using brass pads a little more if I'm trying to fatten up the strings even more. Because the brass has that fat quality that you can get to it. And by fat, I kind of mean a rounded tone, something that fills up the whole frequency spectrum really well. You know, it's really interesting. And then the woodwinds can be catered to more solo instruments or as like an ensemble. They work really well together. But for woodwinds, I feel it's more in how you actually arrange the music to fit the woodwinds, because, you know, they have their sustains, they have their shorts. They can also overblow, which is kind of like, you can use that in a stressful situation. It sounds like, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, just be careful. I mean, in general, it's all in how you actually arrange the music, and that's what's really going to give you the mood of what you're going for. The articulations itself, that's what supports the mood, and that's the extra step that'll, you know, help you get there, right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, let me know. I hope I wasn't too long-winded about it, but this is something I think is extremely important when we're trying to arrange music, that we get the right instrumentation as well for to achieve that certain mood we're going for. So in any case, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And please leave a comment below what you'd like to see next and what you thought of this video. And I appreciate any feedback. Okay, thank you very much. I'll see you in the next video. And till next time, bye.